Good afternoon, everyone. My name's Reiner. Welcome to This Is Not Legal Advice. I've been promoted today. Leigh can't make it, unfortunately, this week, so I've been promoted to host, which is awfully exciting. So who am I? Well, I'm a member of Project Positive Change, and I'm a Loved Again coach. I work with women who are trying to make a decision on whether they want to stay married or not, trying to understand what their options are, and really getting in touch with who they are and what's going to be best all around for them. I work predominantly online. I work predominantly, as we're doing today, via Zoom. And I really take people inside themselves. I help them really get to know who they are at their core, but more than get to know, accept and love who they are. Because when you know and love yourself, it's so much easier to allow love into you, and it's so much easier to make those empowered decisions on how you want to move forward with your life. So that's a little bit about me. We'll touch again on what I do as we go through the interview. But I'd like to introduce you today to Fiona Robertson. Fiona, would you like to introduce yourself to the viewers today?
Thanks very much, Ali. I'm Fiona Robertson. I'm known as the Body Renewer, and I help predominantly women understand what's going on in their body. I'm also a body whisperer, which means that we have to understand that our weight or some of the physical symptoms that we get are symptoms, and our body is talking to us on a different level. I can help you lose weight with nutrition, with exercise, with understanding your stress levels, because basically stress levels altering your hormones and then alters your body. There's a lot of different things that I'm sure we're going to just touch on today that'll give you an idea about how you can renew, reset, and reboot your body and get it on side. You can even talk to your body as well as just listen to your body. You can actually talk to your body, and it is a living, breathing, reconstructing thing every single day. Much like Ali probably realized, obviously a relationship is as well. It's continually evolving, and you can start from scratch at any point. And that's basically what I teach you how to learn how to eat again, to love your body, and to love your life. So it's never just about your food. It's never just about the weight. It is a symptom of what else is going on in your life too.
And that's something that we see practically every week on this show, is the problem is never the problem. It's merely a symptom of what's going on underneath. And of course, being the nature of this show is we talk about relationships. We talk about people who are wondering, the women that I would work with, wondering whether they can stay married, or women and men who are going through divorce, going through that procedure, or what it's like when you come out the other end. And a lot of the time, when you're in that stress situation that you were talking about, the last thing we're thinking about is our bodies. The last thing we're thinking about really is...
It goes to the bottom of the pile.
Yeah, exactly.
You become what I call survival mode. You go into survival mode, which I'm sure you're perfectly aware of with a lot of the ladies that you speak to, ladies and guys that you speak to, is that we just go into survival mode, and there's everything else matters far more. Your finances matter, where you live more. It's the Maslow's hierarchy, that you go to the bottom level. You go to like the things that that you need for survival: water, food, heat, warmth, those kind of things. Until you've got those things in place, then you start thinking, right, okay, so I don't like what's happened to my body. So now I need to think about working on my body. And then people come to me to do with the weight, and it's, like you say, it's never about the food in the end. It's to do with all sorts of other things.
Mm-hmm. That's it. And I have clients myself who are hiding behind their excess weight. It's a way of keeping the world at bay. There's a safety behind it. If you're not going to look at me, if I don't feel comfortable myself, then nobody else is going to look at me. So it's almost a way of keeping the world, as we were talking about before we started, keeping the world at arm's length until you build that sort of inner resilience up, that what I call self-love, where you've built that relationship with yourself up again, so that you know.
Yeah, we have to know how to be resilient in in every situation. So for example, if a bomb goes off over there or something, or some disaster or whatever's going over there, how is it affecting you? You know, and I deal with a lot of ladies sometimes who've been through abuse, or they're just generally unhappy, or they've had bad experiences in the past, and they're just very vigilant all the time. They're very jumpy.
Mm-hmm.
And they don't feel safe in their bodies, and they don't trust their bodies. In other words, they don't trust the universe, they don't trust life, and generally anything. So you can understand why the body then is then protecting them. And it's not just that they're overeating, but their body chemically protects them. It just goes into this particular chemical reaction, this hormonal phase of kind of like, right, well, this is happening, then that, then that, then that. And it doesn't only make you crave sugars, but it turns anything that you're eating into sugar. So what I help you do is kind of to change your fuel source. It's a bit like driving a diesel car and putting petrol in it. You have to know what your body code is, and so in which case you have to change over your fuel source. And we had a very quick chat earlier on, and it's not just about when you're dissatisfied that we are turning to food, because this is the quickest way to the heart. It's food or alcohol or whatever habit we have often goes via the mouth, but because you haven't really worked out what it is you want otherwise. So I call them missing nutrients. So until you understand what makes you tick, what really made you tick, and I, go back to when you were a girl and how you felt in your body and all the kind of things you enjoyed doing, and why you don't do them anymore, is because you become an adult. You've gone into survival mode and earning money and raising kids and looking after a house and protecting yourself from an abusive spouse or whatever it is. Until you find out what those missing nutrients are, you're looking in the wrong direction for your solace, for your to fulfill your soul.
Yeah, I've got this lovely, it's an image that I have of us. And for me, what you're describing, that sort of feeding yourself, whether it's alcohol, whether it's food, whether it's shopping, whether it's, sex, whatever it is that you're actually feeding yourself with, it's, we're kind of like a donut, and we're feeding that hole in the middle. And what we really need to do is turn it around and be feeding our souls what's good for them. And that's for me where the connection with self is. That's where, that's a reconnection, which is what you're talking about, that going back to who was I? And I've just been through an experience recently, actually. We kind of cut off from who we are. Or who we were. As we grow, we tend to close down that last chapter, the chapter before, and we think that this is the best version. And I was confronted with myself as a sort of late teen, early 20, part of myself that I'd completely forgotten about. And I realized that there was so much there that I should have been bringing forward with me, and I'd closed it down. And I'm trying to really tap into that, that younger version of me, that sort of tenacious little Bism where, nothing should stand in my way except my own imagination. Yeah, and that's...
Don't forget, the world that we live in, our parents were never available to be opened up to this. They were very much on the career ladder. They're very much in the male organisation, main structure of the world, earning, living, and all those kind of things. We're living in a very, very, very different time now. When you think, that the leisure industry is so huge, and free time and holidays and self-care and self-development is a huge part of who most of the people I know, but it's not necessarily most of the population. It's a huge part of our life. Yeah. I mean, what luxury. Our parents never had that to teach us. They just didn't know it. So we're having to learn from scratch. We spoke briefly very earlier about, I'm very much a doer. I'm very much a bulldozer. I can get anything done. And then I realized it was actually when I went to a funeral. I'm like, I don't know how I'm supposed to feel. Feel. What's feel? I didn't feel anything because I'd shut my feelings down so far to protect myself, because I didn't want to feel, because I was always like, oh God, Fiona, you're such a sensitive soul. Just for heaven's sake, just, you know, get on with life and put that behind you. And I was like, no, but I feel it. It upsets me if I see something on a film. I cry.
Yeah.
So, you know, you end up shutting all those feelings down. I've had to re-educate myself how to feel. And I educate my clients again that it's okay to have a full range of emotions.
But more than okay, it's
to deal with those emotions and not be frightened of those emotions. So all the stuff I do is like, how does that feel? Where do you feel it in your body? What's your body telling you right now? Are you I always go like high stress, low stress. How are you feeling? Are you stressed? Are you anxious? Because they all vibrate at a different level, and they vibrate differently within the body. And when you know that, oh my God, you're flying. It's like, okay, well, that's what that is then. And you also think, that's not my feeling. That's coming from them.
Yeah.
So it's nothing to do with me. That's none of my business. I don't have to get embroiled and dramatized about that. I can just, okay, this is how I feel about it. And I don't have to get so emotional about it. It's not necessary. That was a huge lesson for me.
It really, but how would you suggest that people start on that journey? Because a lot of the people that watch this are people who are actively going through, they're maybe not in a personal development journey, they haven't yet started that, and a lot of the time what I see certainly with my own clients is getting lost in busyness to avoid those feelings and to avoid having to face them.
I know that.
And that's, and that part, busyness is another thing. It goes with food, it goes with alcohol, it goes with shopping, it goes with,
it's an avoidance.
It is an avoidance tactic, but it feels real. So, I'm going through a divorce. It is hell. It's, he's saying this, she's saying that, my family are upset, the kids are this, the kids are devastated, and I am throwing everything into it. I'm busy dealing with all these things. How would you stop somebody that's, because that's reality, and in someone's head that is reality. So how do you stop that, and how do you get them to the place where they can take a step back and say, but does it have to be like that?
Yeah. The step-by-step program that I do, there's a very basic step-by-step program. So, I mean, I call it peace with food, but ultimately it's peace with everything. So if you speak to anybody and say, so what would be the feeling that you would want most of all? And they'd come up with all sorts of different things. I'm saying, okay, those are words in your head. Mm-hmm. Now we have to sort of say, what does it feel like? So most people have never kind of gone below the neck. So I would take people on a journey, and I'm going to be doing this later on with PPC group as well. It's like, take you out of your head so that you're not only in your head analysing, strategizing, planning, fearful, thinking. Mm-hmm. So you bring yourself into your body. So I take people on a journey that really connects them with their body, reconnects them with their soul, but reconnects them with their body. It's like, oh, right, okay, that's what peace feels like. Oh, I like that. Yeah. And it's a completely different world than being in your head. The only time they get peace is when they go to sleep. And if they can't go to sleep, then they drug themselves to go to sleep or whatever.
And that's something actually, that I take clients on that journey as well in a slightly different way, in as much as we have these generic words that we use, peace. Well, I want peace. We all want world peace. We all want peace. We all want whatever, respect or love or whatever. What does that actually mean for you? Because what it means for you is different to what it means for me. Yeah. And unless I can actually describe either how it feels for me or what it means for me, how can I impart that? How can I, and how can I actually take that into myself? So it's so important, especially in these stress situations where communication is already broken down or is difficult. If I can actually express what peace means for me, how I want to feel, how I'd like you to feel, what I would desire, as an outcome from the situation, whether it's, reconnecting in my marriage or getting out of it in a safe and but using the actual description of the word rather than generics, I think is
well, that's still in your head, and they still haven't been able to feel it. So what I do is eventually I'm able to sort of say, can you feel that knot in your stomach? Can you feel the melting in your stomach? Can you feel this? Can you feel that? can you feel, you know, so we start with the heartbeat, or we start with the breathing, so that you actually become inside the body, and then you become aware of, you know, even your vocabulary, and say, you know, eventually you're able to go, actually that makes me really angry. Wow, great. You know the difference between angry and sad or excited. Actually, I thought I was nervous, but actually I'm excited. You know, and then you get to know all the different nuances between the particular emotions. I mean, there are plenty. And we clear those away as well, because what I'm able to do is we go back to the first time you felt it. It could be in this life, or it could be in a previous life, that you are predisposed to stress. But stress is a big word. It covers an awful lot of things. It covers, you know, the guilt, the shame, the sadness, the hurt, the anger, the frustration, you know, and all those kind of things. And sometimes you just need to sort of go back and decipher where it's coming from, and then clear it and kind of go, do you know what? I just don't feel that anymore. And your communication becomes so much clearer when you can feel what's going on in your body and you're aware of what's going on rather than what's in your head. One of the main things I have to do is help people feel safe. And safe in their own bodies. I had to do this with my boy, who was being bullied at school for a while. So I gave him a route to finding his safe place. And with that, he became much, and my clients do, they become much stronger. I mean, I always talk with my hands, because it's this feeling that you're taller, you're stronger, you've got your boundaries, you're set, you know who you are, what you do and what you stand for. And when you're in that energy, things just bounce off you. You don't get muddled and tangled in all the crap that goes on around you in your day. But if you're in victimhood, and if you're in victim energy, you're almost inviting that in. So well, I would say it's probably the same for your clients as well. You know, what you feel, you invite.
Well, that's certainly that. You know, part of it is we don't understand that we're in victim mode. Certainly, for the longest time, I probably played martyr rather than victim. But there's such, you know, it's such a fine line between one and the other, and the ultimate desire is the same. I want something from you. I want recognition from you, or I want help from you, or I want validation, or I want. But we don't understand that. We have this, again, preconceived idea on what being a victim is. And it's not somebody who wants you to understand how I'm feeling. That's not, you know, that's not what we envision. So it's really, again, understanding, for me anyway, teaching people to understand what it actually means, what that means, and how that, you know, how disempowering that is in your own life, in your own self, and then opening up to making a change, making a decision more than anything. I don't want to feel like this anymore. So how am I going to step back into my power? How am I going to, you know,
I think that's it. When people sort of, I know for myself, when I scream out, I don't want to feel like this, I don't want to live like this anymore. And it could be to do with the kids or something like that. But what I've also realized is, along my journey, I started dieting when I was 12 years old. I was trying to follow my mum. I was actually trying to make a connection with my mother.
Yeah.
And what I also realized through my years is that I changed what I was eating to connect with the people. So often it's not what I want to eat, it's not the fuel that works for me, but to get on their level, I change what I eat, or I change the amount, or what I eat, or how I eat. So to understand where you are first kind of helps you understand that you don't need to alter yourself to please another, which must go very much along the same lines for you. So like if you're eating the same as someone else, it's going to have a different effect on your body than it would of someone else, as well as how you're thinking about the food will have a different effect on your body, whereas it doesn't make an effect on someone else's body at all, because they're a different person to you. Their experiences are different. And, you know, why are you choosing that food? How does that food make you feel? I had a brilliant example of that just recently. I had a client who always went for this particular kind of chocolate. And I said, okay, so how does that chocolate make you feel? Well, it's kind of sweet and it's kind of creamy. And we went through the whole description thing. I said, so how does it feel when you eat it, when it's in your mouth? She said, oh God, I just melt. I said, right, okay, so is there anything else that you could do rather than eat the chocolate that would just, you know, until we sort you out in other ways that would really help you. And I said, I said, you're very tactile. You're always kind of stroking your pillows or stroking something or fabrics. So what else? I said, what do you love to have in your hand? What's one of the favorite textures you have in your hand? And she said, oh, you know that children's Play-Doh? She said, I love the way it just oozes through my fingers. I said, oh, that's great. I said, now what color would it be? And she said, oh, it would be blue. I'd love blue. She put some in her handbag. And then whenever she had to take her mum to hospital and she had these very stressful days and she had to, you know, wait for her mum and all that kind of stuff, she used to treat herself when she went home with like a packet of these chocolate bars or whatever on the car seat. And she used to just play with the Play-Doh when she was waiting in the hospital or something. And she was really fulfilled and satisfied with such a little, you know, trick that was just hers. And it wasn't until she got home one day and her husband said, oh, let's just open a bag of crisps and do what we normally do. And she went, I don't feel the need.
Incredible. So, but if we take that again, if we take it back to the stress situation of coming out the other end of a divorce, and you're just beginning to get back in touch, you know, you've begun to put that behind you, you're beginning to heal from it, you're beginning to be able to look back at yourself and say, okay, how can I become the person, because it's neither male or female, how can I become the person that I want to be? What, you know, when
you've got so far the other way.
Well, yeah, you know, and as you said, you touched on it earlier, you said, you know, we go into survival mode, especially in difficult situations like this, and we have to make sure that we have somewhere to live and the bills are going to be covered, and you know, and those things have to be taken care of. For me, I would go further. If I'm not taking care of me, none of that matters, because I'm not going to be capable of looking after that to the best of my ability. But a lot of people haven't reached that stage. So, you know, someone's going to come out of this situation, they've managed, they're eventually, they can feel their shoulders coming down because everything's been vaguely sorted. But how do they start that journey back towards themselves? How do they start that journey to reconnect with themselves so that they can then go on and have those fulfilling relationships, not necessarily romantic, but you know, those fulfilling relationships going forward, letting go of that stress?
It's funny, I spoke to a hypnotist a little while ago about something very similar as well. And he said, you know, one of the main sort of clients that come into me, they just want to lose weight. And, you know, so long as you're saying to yourself, oh, for God's sake, look at yourself. And, you know, you don't like the reflection in the mirror and those kind of things. Again, your body mirrors back to you what you say to it. So, I mean, like, if you're calling yourself, for one of the words that people often use, is disgusting, or I can't look at you, I don't want to, you know. So stop looking at yourself. Almost just kind of like, and to really start appreciating what your body is doing. So, you know, there's a rampage that I do, like, oh my God, I'm so grateful for my arms and my legs, and my heart is pumping and my lungs are working and my hair is still on my head, or whatever it is. And like, where's the appreciation? So starting point could be the fact that you really need to start appreciating what is working for you, and your body is doing a fantastic job. And often what I say at the end of when I'm working with people is like, are you able to say thank you to your body yet for what she's done or what he's done for you? Because it's only been doing its job and protecting you and doing its absolute utmost to keep you alive. It's the same as, you know, when you go completely the other way, health-wise, your pH level, pH or die. You know, when you understand what your kidneys are doing, what your body's doing for you, you think, what a phenomenal thing this body is. The same for any woman who's had a baby. It's like, oh my God, what a miracle.
Yeah, so you would say do that first thing in the morning, you're waking up and actually start to appreciate, almost going through, you know, okay, first of all, God, I woke up. Thank you. That means that you worked well during the night. Thank you to my fingers that are about to start moving and put the kettle on, and thank you to my, you know, to my eyes that can see where I'm looking.
And appreciate,
really, literally feeling into it.
I know that when people are going through a divorce, and I mean, I've been there, you know, you get into the downward spiral and nothing looks great, everything's bad. But at some point you need to start talking to yourself nicely, appreciating what's going on, appreciating what is working. Sometimes before you even start looking at your nutrition, and for God's sake, don't start exercising, because I see people all the time exercising and they're doing themselves more damage than anything else. It's adding an immense amount of stress to their body. They're already in stress. Your body actually only loses weight when it is, okay, you know, you've got no insulin running around the body, you've got none of this, no cortisol, no stress hormones. But when it is relaxed, the retreats I do, people say, I've never slept so much in my whole life. And they feel great. Okay, we've done a detox, we've cleaned the digestion system, we've reset the hormones, we've done all those kind of things. But it's actually, a lot of it is the rest. We're breathing fresh mountain air, we're going walking, we're going down by the beach. And they're like, wow, I find out who I am again. And it's the rest that allows the body to release. Because if you keep going all the time and you don't give yourself proper sleep and catch all those nice delta waves at night time when your body's going into the growth hormone, then your body's not going to change. It's still going to be in survival and stress mode.
Yeah.
So for a start, if somebody's stressed with weight, divorce and survival mode, the first thing you're probably going to need is an awful lot of sleep.
Yeah. And that's something, it's something I'm passionate about. I can live with 7 hours sleep a night, but I really, really thrive on 8. I've always been that way. And it's a non-negotiable. I go to bed early because I have to be up blooming early because of these pesky kids. But for me, it's a non-negotiable, and it's the one place that I find that when I'm not sleeping well, or I've been through a really busy time and I'm maybe sort of averaging 5 to 6 hours a night, I can feel myself already beginning to bloat up. My body starts to hold on to, to liquid and to, and I feel uncomfortable in myself. Yeah. So I think it's absolutely true. I wake up in the morning, if I've had enough sleep, I feel light, I feel regenerated, and I feel ready to go. Yeah. But without it, no. So on that note, any last words of advice before I ask you just to tell us where we can find you?
Yeah, there's 4 cornerstones, and it really is dealing with, looking after your hormones, looking after your quality of sleep. Yes, of course, exercise is in there, but it's not, you're never going to lose the belly with sit-ups if you're stressed and all the rest of it. So we're dealing with stress, the hormones, the nutrition, with your exercise. And I look at the spiritual side and the mindset side as well. So really how you're talking to yourself. Mm-hmm. And those are the elements that are very, very important, and reconnecting with your body and your soul. Yeah. Because it's only a mirror, like you say, it's a symptom of whatever else is going on, and it's only mirroring back to you how heavy you find life, how much are you carrying of other people's problems, all those kind of things. And depending metaphysically what issues you have physically, it's your body sending you a signal. So it could be weight on the hips, it could be weight on the tummy, it could be weight on anything else. And you know what it feels like when you feel fabulous in your body. You can remember what you were wearing, you can remember what you were doing. And if you can get somehow back to that feeling and keep that going perpetually, continually, tuning into that, you will do yourself a massive favor of being able to manifest what you're looking for physically.
Yeah. And that's something that, often people say, but I don't know how to do that. I don't know how to get there. And one of the things that I say is, you don't have to be there all the time. All you have to do is keep going to the place that you're thinking about it. You've got the willingness to feel the way that you want to feel, so that it's impossible to keep in that vibration constantly, and that puts people off even beginning. I can do it one day, I can do it for 1 hour, but I can't keep it going. What do I do then? Well, just set the willingness to feel it, and recognize it every time you do, and don't also beat yourself up when you don't.
And also when you feel really shitty, it's good. Because that means that all the rubbish is coming out. You've got to let the rubbish out. like when you do a detox, you've got to let the rubbish pass through and come out. You feel the stress of everything, or the bad relationships, or the bad food you've eaten when it's coming out, you know. So it's like, oh wow, good, I feel awful today. Tomorrow I'll feel better.
Yeah, and it's keeping the curiosity about that as well. That's the other thing that I like to keep, you know, I keep the curiosity going. Okay, so I feel like this, I wonder what's going to come out of this. I wonder what I'm going to learn with this, you know. And it's sometimes it's faking it till you make it. You feel so blooming low, but you know, if you kind of go with the curiosity, you fake it, it's always a pleasant surprise when you get to the end of it.
I think it's
thank you so much, Fiona, for joining me. No, carry on. Carry on.
No, it's my pleasure. It's my pleasure. But just something popped into my head. I think it's difficult for people to understand when they see somebody being all sparkly that we've ever been in that really low place. But oh my God, I have. I've been for days at a time of just not being able to get out of my funk, and I'm just like, oh my God, what is going on? You know, it could be to do with feeling bad about business. It could be usually to do with relationships or something like that. And you know, we dive for the food. We dive for whatever we think is a quick fix to make us feel good. I know, I've been there.
Yeah. Oh no, we all have. And you know, sometimes we go the other way. Sometimes we just give up eating. It's always been my dream to give up eating when I'm miserable. It's never happened yet. But you know, people do go that other way, that they lose the appetite, they lose interest. Yeah. My sister's very much like that. Yeah. And it's not a healthy diet either, because it's not that you come out the other side
no,
fabulous and fit and ready to take on the world. You're exhausted. So could you let us know where everyone can find you?
I have a website, and it's fionarobertson.co, and that's it. And I have my retreats on there, and I have my coaching on there, and I'm on Facebook as well. So Fiona Robertson, Intuitive Body Renewer. And I do videos, and I do small programs, short programs, and long programs, 6 months as well, which help people just get through it's always at a change of life. When you're changing relationship, something's changing in your life, you're making decisions for yourself that you need pulling through to the other side. You just need that help to get you over the bridge, to kind of like, okay, this is who I am from now on. Who are you in the next phase of your life is where I want to get you.
Yeah. And we can't do that on our own. With the best will in the world, we can't do that on our own.
And your friends somebody
to help us.
Family want you to stay as you are.
Yeah. Unfortunately, that's true, because we don't like change. Nobody likes change. We don't like it in ourselves. We don't like to see it in other people. It threatens us. And you know, if you change, the chances are I'm going to have to change too. So let me hang on to, let me keep you as you are. Yeah. And it's done with love. It's not done with anything other than love, but it's not helpful, which is why we need to go outside ourselves, outside our circles, and find the help that you offer.
Exactly.
So thank you so much. The other place, of course, you can find Fiona is here on Project Positive Change. You can find me here on Project Positive Change too. Leigh, who's not with us today, but there's a beautiful little picture of her up in the corner, is the founder of Project Positive Change. If you're interested in hearing more about either of us, search us out. I'm Reiner. I'm your Loved Again coach. You can come and join my Facebook group, which is Loved Again and Forever, or you can check out my website, AllisonReiner.com. And we'll be back next week with more fun on This Isn't Legal Advice. So thank you so much again, Fiona, for joining us.
Thank you. My pleasure.